We are following breaking news right now. One of Harvey Weinstein's defense attorneys is holding a press conference outside Bellevue Hospital where he is being held. Let's listen in.
In that hotel room regarding Mimi Haley, and it's Harvey Weinstein and Miriam Haley. And, he just said, go back and look at her initial press conference. What she said in the press conference doesn't even jive with what she said on the stand, which shows she should not have been found credible. So there is a portion of him where he's just scratching his head, and he just doesn't know how this happened. But he's cautiously optimistic that when the Appellate Division First Department really examines what took place throughout this case, from before the trial began, meaning the Molyneux decisions, the prior bad act decisions, the decisions that were made that kind of prevented Mr. Weinstein from testifying, he's confident in the appellate judicial system that he will be exonerated.
When will that take place? When will you be able to appeal?
In the state of New York, you can't file an appeal until after the sentencing. The sentencing is on March 11th. Mr. Weinstein and I discussed possibly moving that a little sooner. We'll see if that's in the realm of possibilities, but he does have to go through certain city bureaucracy, being interviewed by the Department of Probation, etc., before he can be sentenced.
How's his condition, and how long does he expect to stay here?
I'm not going to go too deep into his medical condition because of obvious privacy reasons. It's up to the doctors. I will tell you, to me, he looked like he was in good shape. Obviously, for any human being, yesterday was a tremendously jarring and shocking event. It's no secret many of you were at the court and saw he's not the picture of health by any stretch of the imagination. So I think it was a precautionary measure to take him here and make sure his vitals and everything was okay.
Can you describe, we've seen it in print before, can you describe what he said in his reaction right after he heard the
I just asked him again about sharing that with you, and he said absolutely. When we first heard not guilty, there was a degree, and that had to do with the Annabella Shura charge. There was a large degree of relief, and then we wanted to hear the not guilty again, but we didn't for Miriam Haley. And I think he took a second, and he just looked over at me, and he kept shaking his head. And he goes, "But I'm innocent. I'm innocent. I'm innocent. How could this happen in America?" And that's basically, and I asked him if I could repeat that again, and he said I could, and that's basically what he's saying now, and that's basically what he said a year ago. And it's no secret as to what the defense was here, is that these were consensual relationships. I think the only juror that I saw speaking out substantively was an alternate juror who said it was obvious to her that it was tit for tat. He wanted something from the women, and the women wanted something from him. We feel strongly that that's in fact what the evidence showed. Obviously, the jury disagreed with us. And, I will tell you, just leaving the hospital right now, I almost feel emboldened by Mr. Weinstein's spirits and his desire to continue to fight these charges.
Arthur, is he handcuffed? Because they have a jail ward in Bellevue. Is he handcuffed?
He was not handcuffed when I saw him. They walked me right into the room, and I sat. They brought him his meal, actually, and we just sat in between a little table, and we chit-chatted without anyone in the room. We had 100% privacy, and there was no time limit on me as well. I have to remark about the professionalism of the people in this building and all of the people, the public servants who worked on this case with Mr. Weinstein.
Do they have Department of Correction officers outside the door?
There are Department of Correction officers in the hallway, and I actually went through more security than I saw Mr. Weinstein go through.
Mimi said that he should take more responsibility. Do you think he is now taking responsibility for his actions?
I don't think, again, the only people who know what happened in that room were Mr. Weinstein and Ms. Haley, and Mr. Weinstein has been very consistent that he didn't do anything that he needs to take responsibility for. There may be other things that in his life that he's done. He may have been really rough on his employees. The Weinstein Company may have been a very difficult place to work. He must have been a very tough taskmaster. He demanded perfection. But, when you have 485 or more Academy Award nominations and 85 wins, I guess there's a price that maybe people around you pay, but that's not what he was on trial for, although I think that did sink in or seep in to the trial during different witnesses kind of blurting those little facts and tidbits out.
Describe again what the room is like. Are there police outside the room?
It was a rather large-sized hospital room that looked like a hospital room. There was nothing specific about it. There wasn't a lot of medical equipment in there. And most importantly was how Mr. Weinstein was. And he was upbeat. Obviously, he would prefer to be in his own house and not to be here. But he was accepting some visitors. And I know he was looking forward to that. And he just... Again, all he asked was that we continue, meaning the legal team, to continue to go out there and proclaim his innocence and to use all of the tools that the criminal justice system gives us to make sure that justice is done. And for Harvey Weinstein, justice being done at this point is that the appellate division looks at this case as a whole. Some very brilliant lawyers, I'm sure, will be putting together the appeal and arguing the appeal sometime this calendar year. And we look forward to, Mr. Weinstein looks forward to being vindicated.
Arthur, in terms of the bail, he's still on the bail from the original.
He's not on the bail. He's now remanded, so there is no bail. If he goes for bail pending appeal, the bail, he'd have to have a new bail package.
But will you apply for bail before the sentencing date?
That is our plan. It's just the California situation poses some complications, but our goal is to get him out bail pending appeal. To try to get this case advanced, number one, we'd have to have the judge's permission, but number two, we'd have to have the Department of Probation's permission, and number three, the judge did set a very short sentencing date, so I do not anticipate it being moved up. I was actually pleasantly surprised that the judge set a date so swiftly. The infirmary unit. The judge recommended that he go to the infirmary unit in Rikers Island, which is somewhat similar to what's going on. Okay.
Have you been in touch with the LA prosecutors?
Now, you've been listening to a press conference from Harvey Weinstein's defense team. That was Arthur Aidala, who says it was a precautionary measure to bring Harvey Weinstein to the hospital after expressing complaints of chest pains. Now, Aidala, you heard, Weinstein will continue to fight to prove his innocence. He says Harvey Weinstein is cautiously optimistic, confident he will be exonerated upon appeal. The sentencing is scheduled for March 11th, but his defense attorneys are trying to move up his sentencing. Again, he faces up to 29 years in prison. Of course, we will continue to follow this story on CBSN New York and on our website, cbsnewyork.com.